What's up, y'all? Welcome back to my YouTube channel. I'm Kelly Matthews, and today we're gonna be doing something a little bit different, but still fitness related. We're gonna go over my favorite go-to high protein snack recipes. These are not revolutionary, they're not difficult, and that's why I love them, because it's what works for me. One of my most important things throughout my day is making sure that I hit my protein goal, so having some snacks that I can throw into the mix that can help me get there is really important to me, so I hope you can get something out of this. The recipes we're gonna go over are overnight oats. We're gonna do a protein Greek yogurt recipe. We're gonna do a little like tuna salad seaweed situation. And then we're gonna do like an edible cookie dough that's a nice sweet treat. We'll start with the overnight oats. This is a really simple one, and you can kind of do variations of this recipe. I do it different almost every single time, and first and foremost, I very often measure with my heart. There's not a lot of exact measurements going into any of these recipes, but I'll give you guys kind of general outlines of how I do it. I'm gonna start with a half a cup of, I have old-fashioned rolled oats. And a good rule of thumb is that you wanna at least have the same amount of milk or whatever liquid you're using for your overnight oats as you do of your oats, so that it can absorb that liquid up. I'm gonna do a little bit more than that because I want to put some chia seeds in there today. I'm just gonna put like, I don't know, probably a half a tablespoon or so. And then one of the more important ingredients, I'm gonna use my Promix Madagascar Vanilla protein. And I'm gonna do 2 scoops, and that's about 30 grams of protein. And it's also gonna give it a nice vanilla flavor. So after that, I'm using almond milk. You can really use you can use regular milk, you can use oat milk or another non-dairy. One thing I would be aware of is just like what your calorie count is. Like if you have goals for your macros, make sure that the milk is not the thing that's getting in the way of that. Like oat milk can be a little bit more on the dense side, so that's usually why I go with almond milk. So I'm gonna do about a cup of this. And then we'll stir it up and we'll add some toppings. For a little sweet topping, I'm gonna put some dark sweet cherries on top. Not a whole bunch, just like probably a handful. These are frozen, so as it sits in the fridge, they'll kind of unfreeze, and some of the little cherry juice will leak out into the rest of the overnight oats. It's definitely gonna be a little bit liquidy, and the protein might look a little bit chunky. You wanna mix it up as good as you can, but it will all come together in a good mix, and you'll mix it up in the morning when you take it out of the fridge. So I'm gonna put this in the fridge. It'll go overnight, and then when I take it out and I'm getting ready to eat, usually I'll put just a little bit of almond butter on the top, just like a little drizzle, and maybe a little honey if I want it to be more sweet. Dish number 2 is gonna be a protein Greek yogurt. Nothing fancy. We're just gonna use, I got vanilla because that's what they had at the grocery store today. I actually usually get plain, but this will be a nice little treat, a little extra sweetness and flavor. I like the Siggi's just because I like the macros. I think it tastes good. It's pretty clean. We've got 18 grams of protein per serving. So I'm gonna do about a serving, which is 3/4 cup. And I'm gonna eyeball it as I usually do. This is usually like a mid-morning or mid-afternoon snack. I usually get hungry after breakfast, so this is an easy thing to whip up. I work from home, which helps, but this is an easy thing to prep too. Next, we're gonna do some Promix protein. This is whey isolate in the Dutch chocolate. Don't worry about these little holes in the bag. My cat tried to break into the bag, so. I'm gonna mix that in. Try not to spill it everywhere. Oh. And if you have to add more protein, and it's like too much powder, you can add a little bit of like almond milk or something that will absorb up some of the protein. But this mixes in pretty nicely. And then with that, I like to do just some chocolate chips or something for a crunch, maybe like a nut. I like some like almond slivers or cacao nibs sometimes too. Usually just like a little bit. These are semi-sweet, which are my favorite. I have fresh blackberries. I'll do blackberries, blueberries, the cherries that we use. If you have frozen fruit is great too. You may just want to like let it sit in there for a couple minutes or just put it in a cup and microwave it so that it's not rock hard when you try to bite into it. And then for this one, I'm gonna do a little almond butter on top. And then I don't think I'll need extra sweetness because I got the vanilla flavored. But if you do plain, sometimes you'll want to add a little bit of maple syrup or honey. There she is. That took me all of 1 minute, I think, to put together. And this is, so we have 18 in the yogurt. I only used 1 scoop of protein because we already have protein in the yogurt. So that's another 16. So we've got over 30. So if you did your full serving of protein, you could get 40 grams of protein in just this bowl of yogurt. I think sometimes the key to hitting your protein goal is having foods that are dense, that you can have a lot of like food volume without it being like a ton of fat, or foods that are going to make it really like calorically heavier. So I'm getting a whole lot of protein without getting like quite as many calories as I would with like a more, you know, fat heavy snack. Our next recipe is going to be a little tuna concoction that I do pretty often. So you will need 1 can of tuna. It doesn't really matter what kind, just go with your preference. I would suggest doing the tuna that's in water, not in olive oil. In terms of macros, going to be a little bit better, but we're going to do basically a tuna salad. So I'm going to add a little bit of mayo, and you can kind of do your tuna salad the way that you like it. I sometimes will put pickles in there. We won't do that today because I don't want to gross you guys out, but I'm going to drain this and then we'll make our tuna salad. No. June. Beat it. I'm going to put like probably a little less than a tablespoon of mayo. That's usually enough moisture-wise. The pickles that I do usually help a little bit with the moisture. I'll do pickles and maybe a little bit of pickle juice. I just feel like it makes it like kind of tangy and delicious, but I might be alone in that. So I'm just gonna mash this up. And then I think the key ingredient to this is everything but the bagel seasoning. You can get it at Trader Joe's. This one is, I actually think the Trader Joe's one is the best. This one is Noble Made, and it's just like all the everything bagel seasonings. All right, so that once that's done at like a rough mix, I'm gonna dump a good amount of this in there. It's gonna make it nice and like garlicky. It adds a little crunch to it. I also like things pretty salty, so I'm gonna add just a little extra salt. And then we have our seaweed snacks. Seaweed snacks are actually really wonderful. We should all be getting some plants from the sea. There's a lot of like really wonderful minerals that are in seaweed that you can't really get in other places. So I do try to sneak these in here and there. These are just the avocado oil ones and they're sea salt, but you can get different flavors. And basically what I do, sometimes I'll pair rice with this, sometimes I won't. It depends on what my macros are for the day. So if I need more carbs, if I haven't had as many carbs that day, I'll add rice to this. And it's almost like a little tuna sushi roll, but I'm gonna do it without the rice today. So I'll usually just take, well, I just broke that one in half, but I'll take one of these, scoop this in there, or you can just use your fingers and kind of like scoop it. And then I just make like a little taco out of it. Delicious. Sometimes like if I eat this with rice. I'll eat this as a meal if I'm feeling like real lazy. Our last one is gonna be a little sweet treat. So I'm kind of taking you through a day's worth of snacks, because this one I would probably do like before bed if I want a little treat, a little dessert. It's gonna be an edible cookie dough. And we're just gonna do kind of like a single serving. You can obviously expand on this if you want a little bit more. There isn't really exact measurements. This is definitely a measure with your heart type situation, but I'm gonna do my best to kind of measure it out for you guys. But we're gonna start with 2 scoops of vanilla protein of your choice. I'm gonna use the Promix Whey Isolate. Okay, and then we're gonna do a little bit of almond flour. We'll do like a tablespoon and a half to more like 2 tablespoons. And then we'll do a scoop of Greek yogurt, probably about a tablespoon of that as well. And then we'll do some peanut butter. You could also do almond butter or nut butter of your choice. Nice heaping scoop of that. Mix that up a little bit. Why do I keep doing that? And you're gonna have to like, I should have picked a bigger bowl. But you have to like combine this stuff, and then I combine it a little bit, and then I'll add some maple syrup, kind of as needed. All right, now we're cooking. And then usually once I get to this point, I kind of just add things based on like taste and the consistency that I want. I'm gonna put a little more Greek yogurt. So it's probably closer to like, what did I put? 1 tablespoon in there? Probably closer to 2 tablespoons. I don't like mine super sweet, so if you like it on the sweeter side, add more maple syrup. That consistency is kind of what I like. It's like pretty thick and doughy. And then I have my mini semi-sweet chocolate chips. Put a little handful of those in there. There she is. I like it cold, so if you just pop it in the freezer for like 15 minutes tops, it'll be nice and cold. All right, y'all, that's a wrap on my go-to high protein snacks. I hope you can find one that you like. If not, what's most important is finding easy snacks that you can incorporate into your routine that can help you reach your protein goal. Thank you guys for joining me. I'll see you next time.